Welcome along. Time for the Morning Post to rev into action. Sponsored, of course, by William Hill. Brought to you by the Racing Post. We sit somewhere in London in the HQ. And Dave Orton with you for the next hour or so. An esteemed panellist of guests. And it's the final day of Royal Ascot. How have you all been doing out there? This is your chance to interact with us, of course. Get your thumbs up, like and subscribe. Have your shout out. Tell us what your stories of woe. There's been some interesting gambles, haven't there? We'll be sticking in on that. We'll be opening up the floor, of course, at William Hill, talking about all the trading. But let's go down to my guest, Keith Melrose, betting editor, joins me in the show. Really good to have you, Keith.
Hello, Dave. How you doing?
How's the week gone?
Not so bad. It's it's been a great week to watch. I'm sort of still specialising my punting mostly on the sprints, but it's been some fantastic results, and it's just been a fascinating meeting, isn't it? Because it doesn't get the build up at Cheltenham, but every single race dead competitive. Some great finishes. Just been a great week.
Lucky here today. Two big sprints, of course. Aidan Coleman back in the studio. Aidan, you went on Thursday, Gold Cup day?
Had a good day Thursday, yeah, good fun, yeah. So been enjoying it.
Got some winners for us?
Had tipped a couple last week here, yeah.
All right, okay. So, yeah. Getting better at this game.
Better than you anyway.
Well, it's not hard, the bar is low. Paul Kealy talking about the bar is low.
Get any lower.
Have we had one of those weeks, Kills?
Oh, mate, I've been thinking about early retirement lately, and
Come on.
if it keeps going on like this, I won't be making the decision.
I'm not having that.
It's been that bad. No, I've been dreadful this week. I've been absolutely awful.
But you know what these festivals are like? You get to the final day, you think it's all over, and of course you're coming back for more.
Yeah, let's hope so. Like, you know what I mean? I haven't even had any hard luck stories. Like, you know what I mean? No excuses, just terrible.
Well, we're going to beam into the track soon.
One more crack.
Hard luck stories are not a thing this week, really, are they? We'll get there. Johnny Simpson from William Hill joins us. Let's go to the betting jungle, the cave, the sauna, as Nick Luck called it. There he is, Johnny the Judge.
He's in his sauna again.
Yeah, it's been a busy enough week. Today might not be the best quality of the week, but I think there's a little bit for everyone.
Great stuff. Let's get the boost out of the way before we go to the track, Johnny. Tell us what it is. Jersey Stakes, who are we boosting?
Yeah, we're going to go for Hardwicke. We're going to go 4-1, which is already top price. We're going to go out to 5-1. We think he might have peaked already this year, and I think the St James's Palace Stakes was the race for him. So we're going to go 5-1 from 4-1.
Okay, 5-1. There you go. Looks a match, doesn't it? The Jersey Stakes. Hardwicke then. That is your boost. 5-1 live now on the site and the app. Just open it up. You will find your way there. Good luck. They like to get these boosts beaten. Right, let's get the first of our big guests on the line. William Hill Ambassador. I'm delighted to say we could beam into the track. Nick Luck is awaiting for us. There he is, looking resplendent and ever. Johnny's back in the sauna, as you lovely coin it. We're using that one. It's been a bit of a sauna there this week, hasn't it, Nick?
Beautiful. Not now, Dave, at the moment. It's just drizzling for the first time, but I think it's going to pass through. Could get quite warm later and quite humid. So I don't think you're going to see much impact on the ground unless this continues for another half an hour or an hour or so. So all set fair, I think, for later, and it's been a terrific week so far.
Yeah, you've been there, of course, educating the international viewers on what's going on. What has been the big stories? It seems an awful long time ago that Charon ran away with the Queen Anne, doesn't it?
Big stories this week. Well, nothing original about saying Aidan O'Brien and Ryan Moore have had a great week, but I think it's that all their big guns have fired. Not one of them has chucked a dud in, even the ones that have been beaten. Opera singer Henry Longfellow have both run terrific races. The wonderful training performance of Kyprios and another rugged effort from Auguste Rodin. He's got his team exactly where he wants them. Ryan Moore, with 5 wins already, looks pretty much assured of the jockey's title, unless James Doyle, for example, has a ridiculous day today, and I don't think that's impossible. Just listening there, hearing that Hardwicke is the price boost, now 5-1 with William Hill, I think that's pretty big. I think at some point you have to say, yes, okay, he might not be ideally suited by dropping back to 7 furlongs, but class tends to override distance. We saw that in the Commonwealth Cup yesterday. Inisherin could have beaten that lot anywhere from 6 furlongs to a mile, and I fancy that Hardwicke just has the class edge required here, so I wouldn't be put off him coming back in distance at all. Could be a very good day for Watnan. Dark Trooper, I think, has got a wonderful chance in the Wokingham. Again, not original. Just watching that Saint Cloud footage and some of the split times he put up there suggests that he could be well ahead of his mark. And they've got plenty of others that are interesting today as well. Shartash being the obvious one in the Jubilee.
Yeah, I think if we weren't taking Watnan seriously, I mean, we always, we have been for a while now, they've truly arrived. If they haven't won a 2-year-old race, Nick, they've nearly nicked it, haven't they? They've got their purchasing right, here to stay.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, people will say, look, wave a blank check at all these trainers, buy what you want. But of course, that neglects to take account of is the fact that most of the horses you probably do want aren't for sale. And then the next tranche down, you're going to have to negotiate quite hard to make sure that you get the horse for the value that you put on the horse and you don't pay over the odds. Because there's bound to be one or two disappointments in there, and it's be fairly easy to sour off any owner that you're buying for if you don't get it right, no matter how wealthy they are. So yeah, you've got to get the right team, and you've got to approach this in a fairly methodical way. I don't think it's quite as throw all the muck against the wall and devil may care as people might imagine.
Of course, we've had plenty of the flat season now. We're still not quite halfway, are we? Now the narratives are being set, aren't they? We're really judging our 3-year-olds against the older horses. It looks like maybe we might have a decent sprinter in Inisherin. It looks like the 3-year-olds might hold the aces in the mile division. You'd
think so, wouldn't you? You'd think a horse like Rosalien could deal with a very good, admirable performer like Sharon. I hope they meet each other in the Sussex Stakes. And as for the fillies, that was a tenacious performance from Porta Fortuna yesterday, but it threw up quite a few questions about one or two of the ones in behind. I wonder if the first of the two Justify fillies, Opera Singer, needs a little bit further. I think Ramatuelle, it looks as though Christopher Head's plotting a 7-furlong campaign for her. El Malka was a bit disappointing, so that star miling filly, they're having to wait deeper into the season to really get a clear indication as to who that is. Maybe it is indeed Porta Fortuna. Maybe she'll just win a whole load more races now. She's nothing if not extremely tough and game. But I think amongst those colts, it'll take a seriously good older horse to concede weight to Rosalien anytime soon.
Yeah, I think Richard Hannam vindicated there. He looked extremely emotional, didn't he? OK, I mean, if there's ever a horse made for the foray, you're right, it looks to be Ramatuelle, doesn't it? How's the punting gone?
Terrible, really. It's getting harder and harder, I think. I always used to think I could do quite well at Royal Ascot, but the fields are so loaded now. They're so big. If you can get a winner or two a day, then you've done really well. I'm hoping today is going to be significantly better than the rest of the week. Mickley in the Britannia was my best result of the week, and even he didn't start that big a price. I took a very strong view for Inisherin. That was good. Opera Singer likewise, but it all got a bit chalky yesterday, and the first race was the killer for me because I was very sweet on Simmering, and I can't complain. I mean, she got a great ride, she ran a great race, she's just beaten by the best 2-year-old of the week. I mean, the 2-year-olds have been a bit disappointing, hadn't they, until then? And suddenly Fairy Godmother came along, and you thought, hello, we've actually got a 2-year-old here. You can think, well, that could be in all the Group 1s for the rest of the season and land up in the Guineas next year.
It was interesting to hear Ryan Moore said that he rode her like that because Aidan wanted her to be set a test. Do Albany winners go on and win Guineas?
I don't know, do they?
I'm not sure. I'm not really sure, Nick, to be honest. 5-1, I think she was offered at. I would have been surprised if she went shorter. Porta
Fortuna won the Albany last year, didn't she?
Good shout.
I think the last 2 or 3 years, all the winners have gone on and won 3-year-old Group 1s. So yeah, I think it's become the arguably the most significant 2-year-old race of the week. Coventry Stakes doesn't tend to have quite the same calibre of horse that it used to have. Queen Mary's obviously the fluky 5 now.
Yeah.
So it enables the better horses, the classier pedigree, to go into the Albany. Actually, I've forgotten, the Albany's only about 20 years old. They started it, I think, 2002, something like that.
Yeah, OK. Well, you're right. Listen, and that's interesting, viewers, isn't it? Perhaps that is now the 2-year-old race of the week. What did you make of Fairy Godmother? Let us know in the comments. Nick, before we let you go, we must have a nap and a next best, please.
All right, the nap today is Pentle Bay in the Chesham. I was really impressed with him at Leicester. He's a horse who did everything wrong yet still won, and I think with that under his belt, he'll go really well. The stable had a winner yesterday. The horse is still running really well. And the next best, I'm going to try and do it in the Wokingham with Dark Trooper. Again, not many prizes for originality, but I do think he could be well ahead of the posse, and there's not that many you could say that about in that race. Though it's got to be significant that Holly Doyle's chosen to ride Al Bashir over last year's winner St Lawrence, who, let's face it, is off a very handy mark, and is a winner of the race before. So the fact she's chosen Al Bashir has got to be a tip in itself. But I do like the French horse there, or the Qatari horse, or wherever Alban Demille decides he trains at the moment.
Yeah, 15-2 you're getting on Pentle Bay as well. Word for Chris Stickles and the team. Nick, before you go, they have done a fantastic job, haven't they?
Yeah, he has done a good job. I mean, he's been helped by a consistent forecast, hasn't he? But he resisted the temptation to go gangbusters with the watering. He just put a sprinkle on to maintain. There were already people giving him hell on Monday. How can
Yeah.
you put any water on? If you hadn't put any water on the course, you'd have no runners because it would be sort of firm, hard in places or whatever. But he's maintained just a really nice, fast, fair racing surface. It's been surprisingly quick on the round course, even though the going stick readings are a bit funky. You've got to remember that, like, I don't want to get really boring into the agronomy, but it's totally different soil composition, round course and straight course. So that's why the numbers are going to be completely different. So you have to compare round number against round number, straight number against straight number. The round course times have been quick this week.
Yeah, that's very interesting, Nick. Well, look, Nick, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. William Hill, Ambassador. What does this afternoon hold? You're on air for a little bit, aren't you, stateside?
Nope. Yeah. It's a big show. Big show on NBC today. We go on at 9 Eastern, so 2 o'clock here. Going to get my time difference right. And then we show all the first 6 races on the main NBC network. So straight up after the Today Show with the Royal Procession, then all the way through. And then we come off air just before lunchtime there. And Peacock, we take the last race. And then, as has now become widely known, there is a bike waiting for me at the bottom of the service yard, which will take me to Wembley, where I will meet my daughters and we will watch Taylor Swift. That's the plan. If this all comes together, I'll be amazed.
What a dream day you have ahead of you. Nick, always an absolute pleasure. Be lucky.
Cheers, guys. Thanks so much.
Great stuff. Nick Lick then. William Hill, Ambassador, joining us for the course. We're going to be back into the course as well. We'll get another guest on for you shortly. Everything Nick was saying there made a lot of sense, didn't it? Kills, Albany.
No Guineas winners.
Really be on my horizon.
No Guineas winners.
No Guineas winners.
No Guineas winners. Doesn't mean she can't win it, but I mean, you know.
Yeah, but Portafortuna's nutted in a Guineas, didn't she, Nick?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just a historical fact that no Guineas winners doesn't actually mean anything if she's
Was it the best 2-year-old of the week?
Yeah, because the rest were
Very good.
poor, weren't they? The rest were poor.
Yeah, I think so.
We've been a bit disappointed by 2-year-olds. That's not great.
Yeah,
Is it?
I mean, you know, they're just sprint bred, going to be a bunch of average 3-year-old sprinters next year, aren't they? You know what I mean? But our production line is what we've got now, isn't it? Like, you know, that's what we're going to have.
Let's go to the judge up in the sauna, shall we? What price did you go Fairy Godmother after that Albany success, John?
We put her in at 5-1, and that it certainly filled up the scroller. That did. I think we'll sort of take stock and just have a look at that market after Royal Ascot. But I'd be in agreement with Paul there. This wouldn't be for me at this stage of an anti-post market. I think 5-1 is plenty short enough.
Plenty short enough. So, Johnny, how's your week been? What's it been like up at William Hill?
Yeah, it's been non-stop pricing up these races and ensuring we're trying to be on the right side of any big market movers. But no, it's been a good week. But glad it's nearly over.
Yeah, I know. It's a hell of a long week, isn't it? Now, this is what this show does well, I think, and maybe sets it apart. Let's talk about some of the gambles this week. You punters out there have been pushing them out, pushing them in. We have seen some bizarre moves. We've got the betting editor, we've got the former betting editor here. We've got the newest punter on the block as well, and we've got the best trader. Surely between us, we can work out and try and fathom these, shall we? Let's have a look and see what's been really significant with William Hill this week. Now, it looks a bit busy, this graphic, potentially, but the white is obviously the names. We start off with the St James's Palace Stakes. John, 4-1 into 5-2 Rosallion. You must have known that the inevitable was about to happen. When that late drift on Notable Speech began, he ran terribly, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, with the sort of benefit of hindsight in the results later in the week, obviously there's a horse on that graphic we'll touch on shortly. The Appleby Yard, the move really late on there for Rosallion, and then the drift on Notable Speech. The money there was absolutely spot on, and we'd laid plenty of Rosallion at 4 and 7-2, and we paid for that one.
Okay, so we'll keep on this graphic then. Kills, let's bring you in here quickly. There have been some strange activity, to my eyes, going on in these races. We'll get to the one at the bottom that Johnny's talking about. That's Diamond Rain. That's the big stinker of the week. But you could put into that, let's concentrate on the red, in Spiral. It's almost like, everyone knew she was beat before she jumped out badly. Opera Singer, huge drift. And even Notable Speech right towards the end.
Right towards the end. I mean, look, there's some horses I was against. I'd have laid Notable Speech myself because we sort of predicted that there would be a steady gallop, and he was one of those that was going to be out the back early. So there was always likely to be trouble in running. He didn't actually get much. He just didn't run his race for whatever reason. But it's not a huge drift, is it? Opera Singers was a massive drift, and she ran a perfectly fine race. She nearly won. She got beaten by a better horse. Diamond Rain.
Ooh.
would be the one, because that was a stinking drift and she was beaten very early.
Yeah, now you have long coined the phrase, I mean, Keith will know this, Aidan, he's always said, don't mind a drift.
Yeah.
But surely that was a massive alarm bells.
Sometimes there's something in it. Obviously, Notable Speech ran it awful as well for Charlie Appleby. I mean, I'm assuming he's got some very average horses this year to only muster 6 runners at the Royal Meeting.
Yeah.
Because he had, best part of 20 in each of the previous couple of years. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe she didn't like the really fast ground. I don't know what it was with her. But there were other drifters, and drifters do win, don't they? Look at that Leovani, 7-1 to 22. So I mean, it was right on the verge of being market leader in the morning.
But Diamond Rain, Keith, for a lot of punters out there, although it was Ribblesdale, was being talked of as banker of the week.
Yeah, and that was the most sort of confusing sort of drift of the whole week. I found the 2-year-old moves actually the most interesting. When we're talking about the one that won there's three on the graphic that we showed.
Let's get it back up, shall we?
Were
guys?
2-year-old races, and I'm always interested in what's driving them, because we're not talking there about horses. These are not established horses, and it's going to a lot of the time be that's good. These are going to be almost algorithm driven. Some of these that are these moves, and the markets are really volatile. I think part of the reason you're getting a lot of these funny results in these 2-year-old races is because very firm decisions are made on very little evidence, and you end up, with Leovani, that's virtually joint favourite in the morning, going off 22s and still winning these. And that's next year. I'm probably going to take a lot more interest in the early 2-year-olds because the opportunities are there, because everybody's guessing. It's the obvious thing to say, but these moves here, they're the ones that you're going, because they're really, really marked. And yeah, I'd be looking at them for next year potentially as the sort of move, the market you can get involved in, because Royal Ascot, it doesn't have the same build-up as Cheltenham. These 2-year-olds, it's still early in the season for them.
Yeah,
we've got an opportunity there to take advantage of uncertainty that you maybe don't have at some other big festivals.
There is uncertainty, isn't there? I mean, what did the trainer say after shareholder one? Best 2-year I've ever had. Right, what I mean? He's on the drift.
Yeah, it's remarkable, isn't it? Okay, right. That is that. There will be a debrief about that, I would imagine. But hopefully that's, cleared up a little bit of there, because we have seen some crazy activity. Will we see crazy activity today? Some horses are flip-flopping already. Let's get the paper roundup with exactly what you can get in your hands if you buy the Racing Post on this Saturday and you're going to the course, or you're sitting at home on your sofa, or indeed if you're a Digital Members Club subscriber. There's the front page then. Good times never seem so good. Yeah, I'd concur with that. Absolutely. Magic Moore. Stuart Riley, page 2. That's great, isn't it? Buddy Doyle Stars and a Royal Contender. Main attractions of the final day, says Stu. Get involved with that. Always a good read. Middle Earth, says Rodders. Rodders has had a hell of a week, guys, out there, hasn't he? Really found his pinpoint. Can make it fancy land for punters, says Rodders. Good analysis there. O'Brien and Hannon Lockhorns again with Tybert and Hartem. Does look a bit of a match, or is it? Robbie Wilders and David Mills, Newmarket correspondent, doing the wording there. Johnny Dineen. Johnny's going to be joining us shortly. Getting a bit more of our pound of flesh out of the Irishman, and he'll be no hats off for Hartem, and I'll be laying him for a place in the jersey. More strong opinions there, and there's his Magical Zoe now, the wager of the week. And Tom Siegel, who you probably saw on the track this morning. Candleford, Ascot specialist, can come alive. Wizard of Eye as well, the Victoria Cup winner, and already advised Shartash, one of Tom's strongest of the day. There's your paper roundup. Great to have you with us here on the Morning Post. If you've just joined us, good morning. Are you feeling furry? Are you ready to go? It's 20 past 10, which is an ideal moment to get stuck into the races ahead then. And it is the Chesham Stakes. And bedtime story looks quite strong to me now. Age of Gold, Godolphin could do with a winner who's impressive at Yarmouth, the son of Frankel. Pental Bay, given a strong word by Nick Luck as well. Johnny the Judge, what's been hot, what's not?
Yeah, this is our top price guarantee race, something we've been doing all week on the first race of the meeting. So we won't be beaten on price, and we're paying 4 places. So I won't be looking anywhere else. Bedtime story was 9 to 4 first thing this morning. The money is starting to pour in into 7 to 4. It's very easy to see why, brilliantly bred out of Mecca's Angel. Age of Gold. We're going to be trying to get a little bit out of this. Obviously, the Appleby form well documented this week, and then little bits and pieces for Pentle Bay at 8-1 from 9.
All right, okay, yeah, more work for Pentle Bay then. Tom Mark off the mark yesterday, Porter Fortuna, and George Bowie as well with Soprano. We'll see that one coming. Aidan, have you had a look at the Chesham?
I have had a good look at it, yeah. I'm going to go with Age of Gold. I just think you can't keep two good men down, and although they haven't had many bullets to fire this week, I think Charlie and William Buick are due a winner.
He was impressive at Yarmouth, wasn't he?
And the third horse ran well in the Coventry the other day. It was finished midway, but it wasn't beaten that far, and he beat him quite well at Yarmouth. So, there's a little bit of substance to the form.
A lot of people saying that chap might be going for the Coventry after his Yarmouth win. Here he is stepping up.
Yeah, I mean, you can certainly see him running well. I looked at this form and I actually thought none of them have got form that's that good. This is the thing. They were all a long way below the level of a normal Chesham, which is sort of what you'd expect anyway, because most of them only run once. But again, nothing sets a massive standard. It's not going to surprise you if Bedtime Story is the one, given Aidan O'Brien's record. Things have 5 winners and 4 seconds from his stable number one in the last 13, 14 years or so. So, they'll have a good idea. They've got more 2-year-olds to work with, of course, so they'll have a good idea. So you can understand why he's favourite. I've had a couple of quid for what it's worth on a defence missile. Trained by Eve Johnson Horton. Second at Newbury, staying on strong by Arc winner Sotsas. The winner came up the rail pretty much on his own and won quite easily. But I like the way he finished. He's got Danny Tudhope on for the first one. He's got a 50% strike rate for Johnson Horton. Obviously won on this Connections Indian run in the Acom last year. Just half interesting, bit of a guess up. In for a bit of a guess-up race, but
he's a very good man at Ascot.
Not a serious bet. He's a fantastic jockey anywhere, but he's good at Ascot.
Yeah, all right, okay. Yeah, this is a race that can sometimes throw up a shock or two, Keith, isn't it? But also you do see the O'Brien banker sometimes in this.
Well, yeah, absolutely, because they tend to get those 2-year-olds that are a little bit stouter bred and end up sort of in these races. But the bedtime story's out of Mecca's Angel, who obviously was a proper 5-furlong horse. Breeding's also why I quite fancy Age of Gold. I agree with most of what Aidan said, but also this horse, obviously, there's a condition on sires in this race that you've got to have won over a mile 2 and further. And yes, this horse is by Franco. He's actually a full brother to the fastest Franco, 5,000 to 1. He'll probably be the fastest Franco there is, and yeah, so he's a full brother to Age of Gold. They knew he was going to win at Yarmouth, didn't they? And as Aidan says, the horse in third has come out and performed with credit. He improved about £10 on RPRs in the Coventry when running that race. So the form's maybe not so bad. And basically, William Beat was just teaching him all through that race, and a lot more to come. I thought there was a lot to like, and that you might get a bit of value because we're talking about the form of Appleby and Buick, but they've only run. It's not like they've had 20. They're not from 20. They're not from 6.
Yeah, the horse in the Albany ran all right yesterday. Didn't
so I think maybe that's the sort of opportunity. People are going to latch onto that form and get against it. But Age of Gold's form's really good. Pedigree's a bit of a hack for this race. And yeah, I thought he was a really interesting one.
All right, okay, that is the Chesham. 2 ticks for Act of Gold, Kills taking a flyer. What are you with? Like and subscribe. Get involved with the community. Good to see you out there, people. We've got roughly around about another 45 minutes left to go through all the rest of the races. And coming up next, yes, of course, it is the Hardwicke Stakes. Now, this has been a lively morning market, Johnny, but all week you've wanted to stay on the right side of...
Continuous, yeah. We think he could be one of O'Brien's best older horses this season. Maybe stepping stone on to something like the King George, the Arc, and maybe off to the Japan Cup at the end of the season, given his pedigree. But we've always been a notch under this. We think he could be better than this grade. We'll be taking plenty out of Middle Earth with top price at 5-2 and top price Desert Hero at 8. There has been a little bit of money this morning for Elegant Man. He's 33 into 16. Obviously disappointed at the Curragh last time, but hopefully it's better ground might see a good effort here.
Oh, all right. It seems a really good time, actually, to go back to Ascot and bring in one of the stars of the show this week. Johnny Dineen waits for us, and a regular here on the Morning Post. Good morning, Johnny.
Morning, Dave. How are things? Good.
You were exhaling quite a bit of air there, man. Has it been that sort of week? Are you getting the trip?
Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah, no, I enjoyed it very much. I'm not doing any great damage. I might be just slightly behind, but very, very little in it. I had one bad day the first day, got it back and went in front, and then kind of broke even one day and lost yesterday. So I'm behind, but it isn't life changing. No.
Yeah, I'd be echoing those sentiments from a personal point of view. And you've just heard Johnny Simpson from William Hill saying they want to fill their satchels with Middle Earth. You're taking a stronger view against that?
Yeah, no, I'd be siding with Middle Earth on the grounds that I'm guessing, as an educated guess, that Continuous won't be 100% here. And he is the best horse in the race. I would have thought he is on last year's form, but very, very few horses are winning nowadays, coming in there off of big breaks. For you see it in the Guineas, where horses that won the Guineas had run in the winter there in the all weather and all that kind of stuff. And even the likes of Rosalian, who's probably the top miler, got beaten the Guineas and continues to starting off his campaign. I assume his midsummer objective is the King George. So I'm guessing like that he'd be primed for a race like that. So my guess would be that he'd be 5 or 6 weeks away from being really, really at his peak. And for that reason, I can't have Continuous today. And on the day, I'm going to go with Middle Earth.
He did very well to win at Newbury, didn't he? Having looked maybe in trouble a furlong out. He absolutely flew that one. Johnny, let's just stick with you because you talked about horses there on the comeback. That seems to be a trend of 2024, doesn't it? No matter who the trainer is, they don't seem to win first time out. That would be a worry. William Hill think he might not have to be at his best and he'll still win. How much this week, John, has the market told us what's going to happen before they come out of the traps?
Oh, look, I'm a big believer in giving the market massive respect. And some people said, when they drift, you should have more on. I'd be the exact opposite of that. And look, you saw it with the likes, even the likes of Opera Singer yesterday. It was a huge market drift. Okay, it ran well. It appeared to run its race. Who knows whether it ran its race? But it's still at the end of the day, if you backed her, you lost your money and went from like 6-4 out to 9-2 at one stage, which is huge, like in a race like that. It's not like it was a maiden hurdle in Hexham in the middle of the week. It was a Group 1 Coronation Stakes at a meeting like Ascot, where it's a really very robust market. And look, there was plenty of horses well backed here during the week. Okay, they didn't all win, but the market was pretty accurate. A lot of horses finished up a lot shorter than you think they would, but they either won or knocked on the door. I mean, the last race, the Windsor Castle, was one of the amazing ones for me. Like that horse looked at about a 20-1 chance, finished up 5 and won. And even the French horse yesterday, Clandigan, well backed. A lot of well backed horses winning here. And I can't remember one that. There was one of the Watton horses that drifted alarmingly and did win a 2-year-old race. But basically, look, if there's real negative signs coming from the market, I don't want to be with them anyway, especially in a meeting like this where it costs money to bet against horses.
Yeah, okay, John. Yeah, well said. I think a lot of punters nodding along with that. Okay, let's go down the panel then. Keith, what wins the Hardwicke?
Well, I was with Middle Earth, Ellen, but the price is sort of getting there now. I'm with Joy. Continuous is not going to be fit. How long ago? 6 weeks since we're talking about Aidan O'Brien struggling to get his horses right, and look what they're doing now. You know, that is the arc Continuous is going to be on, but he's 6 weeks, 8 weeks behind that arc.
Are you surprised, therefore, that William Hill don't want to go near it?
I think Johnny made the point there about you might just be better than him anyway, because without him, it's a very open race, and that's why Middle Earth was a bit of a, he might be a little bit of a boat, but he's a progressive boat. There's only missed a beat once in the
I thought he might be a couples.
Yeah, he could end up being that.
Yeah.
So I've switched in terms of price-wise. I've gone for Candleford. Who's, he is coming first time up, but he's an Ascot horse. Haggis knows exactly what he's doing, getting him ready for it. It's not like Continuous who's going for the King George and all those back ends. The chances are Haggis knows Candleford's not going to win much bigger a race than the Hardwicke, so he'll have much more incentive to get him ready for this. Very open race if Continuous isn't fit, which we all assume that he won't be, and I thought he was a sort of money one. I mean, Middle Earth, I was with him before, but the price is short enough now, so Candleford's still double figures, and it makes a bit more appeal at the prices now.
Yeah, is it interesting they've not put a pacemaker in for Continuous here? I think they've kind of did it. Was it Henry Longfellow where they tried to almost deployed it perfectly?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they need to. Looking at the makeup of the race, the 2 Ammo horses go from the front. Elegant Man's going to go from the front, isn't he?
Yeah. Okay.
You'd have thought. I don't know if you were a Continuous man, if you backed Continuous Ante-post, if you backed him yesterday or whatever. And you're picking up your paper today, and there's one sentence that you really do not want to read coming from the lips of Aidan O'Brien, and that's, he's just ready to start, and that's what he said. I mean, that is the death knell for an O'Brien punt. That is, I mean, it really is, time and time again. Like, this basically means he's a stone off it. Like, and he needs to be the best horse by a mile to be able to win if that's how he is. Because I mean, you go back time and time again, you see that quote: "They don't win." Like, you know what I mean? I mean, he might win because I think he's a lot better than these, basically. But you've got to take that into account. It'd be very interesting to see what the market does. Because he's one that could take an opera singer style walk, and if he does, then you're going to get really worried.
Yeah.
If this horse takes an opera singer style walk, you tear up your slip, don't you?
Yes, because we haven't had the run. The fact he's not, I think, will be buoying a lot.
The fact that it's
people.
much later in the season and he's had his away days and whatever, he'd be more forward than a lot of them that he says he's just ready to start. But I hate that comment, and I definitely wouldn't touch him.
King George, the main option, you'd imagine.
Yeah. I mean, he's got bigger fish to fry as well. That's the whole point. Like, you know what I mean? He's got Group 1s to go for. This is a starting point, a stepping stone to other races. Like, and that's the interesting thing. I want a horse that's been absolutely keyed up for it, rather than has an eye on something else.
I think the market will be absolutely
I'm on
key here.
Mr. Cut.
Right, of course, the Royal Ascot winner himself.
Absolutely gagged up here 2 years ago in the Golden Gates. Was actually sent off a 13-8 favourite to beat Mostadaf in Riyadh a year and a half ago. Didn't run his race, but that's the last time he didn't run his race on fast ground. And two-time Grade 3 winner this season. Split 2 Appleby runners in a Keeneland Grade 2 last time. The winner, Silver Knot, ran a monster career best next time out. It looks solid form. He can't have the ground fast enough. I just thought he's going to run well.
Mr. Cut, I think Tom Siegel's putting up a good word for him as well. What does Aidan Coleman like?
Aidan Coleman.
I nearly went O'Brien.
Well, that'd be better. He'd be better punted than me.
Well,
I do agree.
well.
Johnny basically copied all my notes, I think, on continuous. I think he's by far the best in this race, but it is a big worry coming to Royal Ascot, first run of the year. So I've gone for Middle Earth because from what I heard, they thought he'd really need his first run at Newbury, and he came and won.
Yeah.
John Gosling's had a good week.
He has.
So I'm going to go with him. But I think if you look back later, at the end of the season, Continuous is going to have achieved by far the most of these. But I just think, first run of the year, like as Johnny said, I just think I'm staying away
I must
from him.
admit, I'm taking a positive view on Continuous. I think he could be 80% and still get away with it today. Candleford's interesting as well, all the way down to Goliath. Right then, that's that done. You've been warned about the move for Elegant Man. All-weather beast, isn't he? Ascot, here we go, that's possible. Now we move on to the Golden Jubilee. Was it the Queen Elizabeth, of course, this year? And Millstream and Believing. Johnny, the judge, that looks like quite a strong move then on Believing, is it?
It is, yeah. Obviously, there's a small rule 4 in this market with Kinross dropping out, but Believing was 8-1 yesterday and is now into 7-2. They're really, really strong support for that this morning. Obviously, a really good run on Tuesday in a 5 furlong race. Millstream 7-2 as well. We're just keeping that one just a shade under the market. We think that one might be the improver in this division, of which it looks a very weak one at that.
Yeah, no matter what we think about the sprinters at the minute, we've still got a cracking puzzle to solve. Let's do that now for you. Keith, while you're here, something that people have really been enjoying this year, we've been pushing it on this show, as most of the others here at the Racing Post, is the Smart View, of course. And this was a race that you're particularly interested in.
Yeah, I like this one. The decks came out on Thursday for this race. Matt Gardner, who handicaps the sprinters now, he talked up Art Power again, and I said, "You're not doing this again, are you, mate?" We had a spell in 2022 just backing him for all these Group 1s. Obviously, he finally got his shot last year. And Matt made the point, is he as much of a soft ground horse as people think? And, well, he's not. And then the following morning, SmartView did its thing overnight, spat out the figures, and it tells, what I like about SmartView is it doesn't just go, oh yeah, that Art Power needs a bit of a soft ground horse. Yeah. It looks at the figures, it takes a nuanced view. And Art Power, he got a score of, I think, 82 on the ground, which is one of the lower ones in the field. But basically, SmartView said, it's not a big deal, lads. And as a result of that, Art Power's win in the champion sprint, that's one of the best pieces of recent form in the field. Obviously got loads of Ascot form. That's how he's come out top on SmartView. He's the sort of top rated on the race. And yeah, I liked how the system showed that nuance and showed that subtlety. It took away all the sort of little prejudices that we'd have, that Matt Garner to sit down and work out himself, and it just went, you know what, lads, it's not a big deal. Art Power can run a big race. I think he will run a big race. It's one of those races, we were talking yesterday, there's basically no winner in this race that would surprise apart from maybe Jumbie. You know, anything could win this race because it's crap. It's just a bad division.
There's a line.
We've been trying for 15 years to breed fast, to be good sprinters, and this is the result, lads. Last year, I sat in the paper and told how this was the most international race in the world. There have been horses from just about every racing jurisdiction in this race in the last 15 years. All English affair this year, and you can see the Emperor's not wearing any clothes, can't you? Because it's as bad a Group 1 as I've seen. So there's lots of, you could.
Is it as bad a Group 1 as you've ever seen?
Yeah, it's really bad. Well, not as I've ever seen, but it's as bad a Group 1 as I've seen for a while. It is, considering how much stock gets put on sprinting these days. This is what we've got to show for it. Dear me. And I say that as somebody who watched a lot of sprints, and I should be tub thumping for the division, but you can't, can you?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, Art Power is a horse. I'll probably have a bit on him. I'll probably have a bit on Mick Bahi, but the horse I'm going to sort of put up and nominate for this is Keno, who's got loads and loads of Ascot form. He was about 40 to 1 the other day. But he's been backed, and people are starting to see he's got all that really good Ascot form. On the straight course at Ascot, you maybe want a little bit of form over further. He's got form at 7. And he ran at Haydock last time over 7, and he looked like he was ready to go back to 6. Having looked like he always wanted 7 when he ran over 6 last year, which is, he's now looking a little bit quicker. They've taken the hood off just to sort of seal the deal a little bit. And I would not be at all surprised to see him run a big race, finishing the 3 or whatever. And, the race is so lacking in depth that this horse that is almost just fresh out of handicaps, if he improves even half a stone, he could win a Group 1. This is the level we're talking about.
You've got 4 places here, Keith, so you're happy with that?
Yeah, I'll probably play him. I'll go on bet for you can get like 5 place marks. I'll probably play him in that as well. I'll probably play him in some tote bets as well. I know it's a Hills show, but I'll be playing him in all the sort of exotic markets too. He's that sort of horse. So yeah, that's the way I'll be playing the race. As I say, I'll probably run those 3, Keno and all the exotics, and that's the way I'll do it.
Keno for glory for the betting editor then, Keith Melrose. Johnny Dineen, you're still with us on the track. I heard you talking up Mick Bahi earlier. He's my idea of the winner, John, for what it's worth.
Yeah, look, it would be a huge selection, Dave, to be honest. It is obviously a tricky race, but I just liked what he did in the Curragh. Even though when he was in 6th or 7th place, you could sense he was going to win, and Jamie Spencer rides this track really, really well, and his running style might be suited to maybe to go faster and it could come through late. Like if he does win, he's going to get up in the last 50 yards, isn't he, at the earliest? So it'd be like hang on to your seat kind of stuff. Anyway, look, he is a good chance in what is a tricky race. He'd be the one I'd be picking, like without massive punt.
Yeah, all right, okay. Mick Bahi for me as well. Aidan.
It was Mick Bahi for me until you just said. So, no, I think he. I'm
having a better week than Keels.
That's true. What are you going for, Keels?
We're all doubling down.
If I pick all but one of the runners, that'll give people an idea.
Well, I'm looking forward to coming to your section in a minute, Keels. This is your sort of race, I think. So
I really think he should be half the price he is in this race.
Yeah,
I echo what Keith says about the quality of the race, and it goes to show where British and Irish sprinting is at the moment. It's not strong, definitely on the international stage, is it? I just think his run in the Curragh was the best recent form on offer. When he was unlucky, or when he was earlier on in the season, he wasn't far behind Millstream when he was unlucky. So I think he'll be ahead of him.
Yeah.
And he's shorter than half the price of him. I think he's a great price.
Yeah, 6 furlongs looks a key, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I think.
And Spencer on the straight course as well.
I think all great value. All that's up. Mick Bahi, then a lot of luck for that.
He looked like a right 5 furlong horse when he was younger, didn't he? But you felt, I don't know, it was just some sort of gut feeling when he went to Charlie Hills. You thought Charlie Hills was going to turn him into more of a 6 furlong horse. I don't know why, but it seems to have worked out that way.
I was impressed with him at the Curragh.
No, he definitely looks a different horse this year.
I backed Art Power that day because that's his home, isn't it?
Yeah.
Curragh, and regional's given that form of boost kills as well.
Yeah, it's a good piece. It's as good piece of form as anything else in the race, really. But I mean, everyone's right about it being a bad race, aren't they? I mean, Millstream's joint favourite on the strength of winning the Duke of York when 4 horses were covered by the width of my hand. Shartash is joint 3rd favourite on the strength of beating Pogo by a neck. I mean, Pogo's 8.
He did show a lot of speed at Haydock.
He did show a lot of speed against 7 furlong horses. Yeah, that's
the most damning indictment yet. That
the Wizard of Eye is 5th favourite, having won a 7 furlong handicap of 99.
I think he sums it up. Yeah,
you know what I mean. And there are plenty of good judges think he can win. I mean, I was looking at it. I mean, again, the very low rating worries me, and then I was just messing around looking at sectionals and that because he's come from last to first, and they say going down the trip will suit him and all that. When Shaquille missed the kick in the Commonwealth Cup last year. He still ran the first furlong 10 lengths faster than the Wizard of Eye ran the first furlong in the Victoria Cup. So I just think it's going to be a massive culture shock for him. Now, he might be okay at it, but to be 10-1 with an official rating of 102 for a Group 1 sprint, I mean, it's completely bonkers, isn't it? I mean, he just shouldn't be that short.
What about this price on Believing, who did run well?
I can
Horses do
understand
back
that.
up,
Well, you
don't
can
they?
understand that. You've seen horses come back from the King Charles III many times and run great races in this race. So I can definitely see that. And it's obviously, you know, the Haydock form before that was good. And it's, you know, it's probably I wouldn't mind betting he's clear favourite at the death. But I have backed an outsider because I need a few Hail Marys going into the last day of the week.
That's the way to do it.
Swing Along was beaten a fair way in the end at York, but was still pitching in there just over a furlong out and was having her first run of the season while the first 6 home had all had at least one run. I mean, a few of them had had more. And I actually thought she showed quite a lot there. Trainer Carl Burke says he's expecting a very big run, which I'm quite pleased to read about today. But, you know, last year she ran third. She led them for a long way in the Commonwealth Cup. She only got passed by Shaquille and Little Big Bear, and she wasn't, you know, she didn't drop out. She kept battling on. She then won a group sprint at Yorks, and she then finished 4th. She was only just behind Regional in the Sprint Cup. Oh, sorry, only just behind Believing in the Sprint Cup. And then she finished 4th again to Art Power in the Champion Sprint. So she's run twice on Group 1 sprints at Ascot and finished in the first 4. And she just will have been primed for this. I think she'll run a big race at price.
Yeah, she's only 14-1 actually, and Kinno's only 18-1. I say only. We're giving you 2 horses that aren't on the graphic there.
Both those horses have been tight since Dex because I think people have realised, Christ, anything could win.
Anything could win. All right, okay. Anything can win. The Golden Jubilee. What do you think's going to win? Right, let's go on to the Jersey, shall we? Always one of my favourite races of the week. This is the boost. If you've just joined us every Saturday here on the Morning Post, William will give you a chance to enhance your odds on a biggie. And there it is. Hardwicke then. Placed in 2 guineas, now down in class, now down in trip. Everything looks like he's going to run a big race. He's got the penalty, but Strong Suit did it for Hannons a couple of years ago. I wouldn't worry about that. 5-1 does look a big price. Are you being knocked over, Johnny? Is that standing up? How are we getting on with this race?
Yeah, one's proving very popular. But we're gonna stand firm with that. When the boost is obviously finished after the end of the show, we'll ensure we'll be top price in the field, but. We're paying 4 places in this race. River Tiber 13-8 is proving very popular. I can totally see the case for that horse. You know, it probably needed the run of the Irish Guineas. I had a chance in Task Force here. I thought he's a 7-8 to 1. I think he's a little bit of value. But I will give you a big mover here. Pearls and Rubies. This is 66 to 1 first thing this morning. Now into 12 to 1. The right people are on this one. So I'll be the listeners. Pearls and Rubies at a big price.
Oh, the second string, if you like, from Aidan O'Brien's. Dylan Brown McMonagle taking the ride. Has anyone looked at that?
No, Ross Bryle was making its claim to me yesterday, this, and got really good Ascot form, you know, not that far off in form terms as you'd think for a 66 to 1 shot. That strikes me as a wrong price correcting itself. 12 to 1, is it overcorrected? Maybe not. Maybe it's just found its price now. But, you know, 66s was the wrong price.
I think it's a bit of an overcorrection. But Ross was going on about it and saying he'd backed it at 33s, and then a little bit later Hills went 66s. So having not looked at it at all, so you know I won't be claiming anything. There.
When River Tiber made his debut, he was the boost. Do you remember when we came in on the Morning Post and boosted it up and Johnny liked it, of course. We'll go to Johnny in a sec. He screamed like a jersey. I wasn't sure they were going to run.
I didn't think it screamed like a jersey. I would have backed him. I would have backed him in the St James's Palace. I definitely would.
Would you?
I thought he ran an absolute blind. I actually thought he got a little bit outpaced and then got going again. But he wasn't given anything like a hard ride. I mean, if you go back and watch that race, I think the front 2 got 6 and 7 taps with a whip, and Ryan only gave him 3. It's all about bringing him on as they do. They obviously thought Henry Longfellow was the better of the 2, and but that's no disgrace. He nearly stole the race from Rosalian, didn't he? So, I think he's going to be very hard to beat, to be honest, because I think he might just be a league above them.
Not surprising the price discrepancy there.
I am not that surprised, no, because he's getting weight, and I definitely would have backed him to beat him next time. I think a lot of people are thinking that way as well. I'm not getting involved at that price, though. I mean, that's the only thing. I mean, I'm happier backing horses at 8 and 10 to 1 because I think they might improve. Not at 13 to 8 because I think they're the best. Like, you know what I mean? So while I think it's best, it's 20 runners. It's 13 to 8. I can sit it out. I can see the case for Task Force, who was obviously second in the Middle Park and was very keen in the Guineas.
I think they were disappointed with him in the Guineas, weren't they?
But I mean, River Tiber is a commentary winner as well, isn't he? So I mean,
yeah. All right. Let's go to Johnny Dineen then, because Johnny, you napped this, of course, when they boosted it. First of all, what did you make of the run? I almost thought certainty this was going to be one of your bankers of the week, Johnny.
Yeah, look, he's priced to the bone at 38.64, whatever price he is. I do think he'll win. Like, will there be better 13 to 8 chances? Probably with the amount of runners and that. Like, it still is Royal Ascot. Like, so like 13 to 8, everything needs to go right at the same time. I just think 7 furlongs is probably his strip. I'd say it's where he got the mile in the Curragh appeared to. It'll definitely suit him more than Hatham, and Hatham is a £3 penalty, which is nasty in a race like this. Like £3 it's surely a length anyway, and it could be the difference between maybe win and lose. I think Hatham will struggle here because I have a feeling he's going to have to be ridden aggressively because he's gone back and he surely would have read the St James Palace Stakes only for Rosalian being in it. Like they had to. So this is a kind of it's not, I wouldn't say an afterthought, but it's the second best option or whatever. But look, I have a feeling Hatham will struggle here because I do think he could be picked off by other horses. And while I do fancy River Tiber, I don't think he's an all in the River selection or anything like that. I do fancy, but he is priced short enough. I wouldn't be against him now, but I might even back him. But I wouldn't be selling out in him either.
Yeah, there's plenty of 5 to 2 available during the week. Aidan, massive field. Is it just a match? What do you like?
Yeah, kind of. I would give Task Force a good mention at the price. It's a bit of value. I think, as Johnny said, I think it's a dirty penalty for Hatham, isn't it? Like
dirty penalty.
Yeah, in a race like this, to give away a few lengths before you start is going to be difficult, isn't it? River Tiber, I can see why he is what he is. He's won a Coventry. He would have come on an awful lot for the Guineas run, and he'd be my idea of the winner, definitely. But I just think Task Force at a price, especially in an each-way market, he'd be worth a few, wouldn't he? I think he'd be a safe each-way bet, wouldn't he?
And Rafe Beckett and the money's been pretty much right so far this week, isn't it? Keith?
Yeah, I mean, with the each-way boost, the price boost out at 5s, Hatham makes sense on each-way bet to me. I get what people are saying about the £3 penalty, but he's done nothing. He was a bit of a shock winner of the Craven, but twice since he's come and shown there was nothing wrong with that. He really is hard fit. He's flying, and yeah, I would. Something might go past him with that penalty, but I can just see he's going to run a big race. You want a bit of form over further on the straight course at Ascot, so I'm not that worried about him dropping back in tricks.
Boost is win only.
Is the boost win only?
Is the boost win only, John?
Oh, John.
It is, yeah.
I think it
boost is win only.
I'm trying.
The betting editors is livid.
I'm trying to take you for a ride here, but no, maybe not in that. But anyway, he is a sort of horse that's definitely going to be there or thereabouts, isn't he? Because he's just, he's River Tiber. He's had that run now, but Hatham's hard fit. He's running Cravens, 2 Guineas. He is peaking, and maybe this is going to be the last of his peak. But
he's admirable, isn't he?
Oh yeah, that's it. He came out and you went.
Runs his race.
Yeah. I think they do really like him.
We're talking down the Guineas because he was so short for it, weren't we? But he's a really hardy, likeable horse. High 110s, remember he is dropping right down in class here at Group 3 company.
They could have run him in the St James's Palace case. I don't think it's just because of Rosalian he didn't run. They'd run against him twice.
I think it was mostly because of Rosalian, to be honest. But yeah, he's
as well, though, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly. I don't think it's just a case of jigsaw puzzle. This, I think they could have gone for that personally. But
this race bodes well for the 3-year-olds as well, doesn't it? With the James's Palace the other day, and this how strong this jersey is.
This is a really good race.
The 3-year-olds at 6 furlongs in a month. The 3-year-olds are gonna do well because the good older horse, the good 3-year-olds get packed off the stud and don't race as older horses. Shaquille's not here for either improved that Jubilee Stakes no end, and the same with all the milers. The 3-year-old milers are going to beat up the likes of Sharon because the good ones all got retired.
All right, okay, let's go move on. We've got 3 more races to preview. We're going to have a look at an Ante-post race. We've got the Naps coming up for you and all that, and Johnny Dineen sits on the line. Do I go to Johnny Dineen first on this? I'm not sure. It is the Wokingham, of course. It is the burn up, the Ante-post race for a lot of people, handicap-wise, of the week. And Johnny the Judge, I want to come to you. We spoke yesterday on the phone, John, when we were having a chat about how this show might go, and there was one horse that you wanted to tell me about, and it looks like one of the steamers of the week. Take it away.
Yeah, yesterday, Torre Vega at 50-1. I thought that was given an eye-catching ride last time, let's say, with an eye to a big prize. I thought this for mark of 90. I think it could go well. But we're paying 6 places in the Wokingham. One of our favourite races, the whole flat calendar. Dark Trooper was put in at 25-1 when entries were initially made, and obviously won at St. Cloutins. And it's well documented that Tom Segal put it up, and it's now 5-1 favourites. It's really, really strong. Been little bits and pieces for Albashire. I think it was documented that Holly Doyle is riding this instead of last year's winner.
Yeah.
But I want to just give a little mention to Unequal Love at a nice price. Track 1 might not be ideal, but I thought that was a good run at the Curragh last time.
It's interesting to see that's one of your races of the whole calendar. A lot of people would run away from this race, wouldn't they? Keels, what wins?
I love them, but I mean, you can obviously make cases for loads, can't you? I mean, Nick Luck's already done the Dark Trooper case. We've heard that. For Torre Vega, I had backed at slightly bigger prices Harry 3 and Rumstar. Harry 3 interested me because he was looking like developing into a Group 1 horse 2 seasons ago. He smashed a field up in that good 3-year-old sprint at York, and then smashed another field up in a listed race at Deauville. Didn't cut the mustard of Group 1 company after them, but then disappeared for the best part of 2 years, so may have had issues. Yeah. Came back, ran well, a bit free at Salisbury. Ryan Moore back on, only ridden him twice. Those are the 2 wins that I was telling you about. So obviously thought that was interesting. His record for Clive Cox is really, really good.
Clive's got a good record in this race as well.
Yeah, exactly. And I think 38 rides Moore's had for him. 18 have finished in the first 2, 13 of them have won.
Yeah.
Right, you know, so...
My tip last week was Ryan Moore, Clive Cox won it.
Oh, James is delight.
James is great, yeah.
I thought about you when that went over the line.
Yeah, I'd have to...
Having tipped it when somehow it just
went... the last winner I backed, and given what's happened at Royal Ascot, I didn't have anywhere near enough on.
Yeah.
So...
it just shows you how it can go.
So, yeah, I mean... So I think he's got a right chance. He's dropped a few pounds from when he was. If he has come back, he's a player. But I also think Rumstar's got a really good chance as well. I mean, he doesn't get fast ground. I think he really wants that often. I mean, I think he's only run on officially good to firm ground twice in his life. You know, he finished second on his debut and then won a 16-runner nursery at Goodwood. The ground at Newbury last time was good to firm, even though the official going was firm. And he again ran another blinder on a track that I think is a bit sharp for him, 6 furlongs, but he stuck it out, and you know I think he's got a reasonable enough handicap mark as well.
Okay, all right. Rumstar always seems to get a mention with people I go to. Johnny Dineen, let's come to you on this. I imagine it might be short and swift, John.
Yeah, look, I didn't really study this race that deeply, but the horse that kind of half appealed to me ever so slightly is a horse that Orazio belonged to is Charlie Hills.
Yes.
Like he was 72 favourite off 102 here last year, so that leads to me that these people thought he was going to be like in a Golden Jubilee horse or Jubilee Stakes horse this year. So he didn't run too bad. He finished 6th, but he went from there to the Stewards Cup. He was favoured. He was favoured in every race he runs in. He's favoured. He was favoured in the Air Gold Cup. He turns up this year in a listed race or in Doncaster. He's favoured, and then he's run bad, and again. In Newmarket at his last run, eased off after running terrible, but he's favoured every day he runs. So somebody somewhere thinks that he can do something in one of these races someday. So look, that's the one I was going for now. But I would again a real token selection.
I think he'll be again. He's not favourite here, John, but he has been nibbled at. I think Safi Osborne on for the first time.
He won't be favoured for a while. Maybe he's just a bookie's horse that he's betting. There are those horses that keep getting beat when they're favoured, and then they pop up when they're one for bookmakers. So look, maybe he's one of those. Again, it's a token selection. That's all. But that's the only horse that kind of caught my eye.
Yeah, you could have a couple of arrows here, but we're only allowing you one, Aidan.
As someone new to this kind of side of the fence, I find these races impossible. But one I did like at a price each way is Mom's Tipple.
Oh, someone had to mention him.
Yeah, he runs in all these races and runs well, and he's coming in to it. He ran well in it last year off £4 lower.
Yeah.
Or higher. £4 higher, he's £4 lower this year, yeah. something like that each way would do me.
He's caught my eye a couple of times this year, but he tends to do this, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Tipple, he has a big run every year, doesn't he, Mums Tipple?
This is York horse, isn't he? I think.
Well, yeah. I remember he won that 2-year race at York, and everybody thought he was going to win everything.
And then it took him 2 years. He went back to York and won again.
I'm more interested in comparing the times between this and the Golden Jubilee.
Yeah, well,
whoever wins this, their connections all fancy they should have run in the earlier race. I think it's because it's half the field are rated over 100.
So you already picked it up that your sprints are your thing, which is something of an oxymoron because you're staying chase man, but you like the speed on the flat. What is the number one pick for the betting editor?
Oh, it's absolutely Dark Trooper. I loved his form at Ascot last year. He would have ended up a 6-furlong group horse at Ascot for Ed Walker last year had he not run out of time. He ran in the Bengoff, completely excusable run that day. They could have run him in the champion sprint. He was so progressive in those handicaps here. He was winning them and he was cocking a snook at the rest of them. He was so far ahead. He was coming from last in races.
Melroseism, if ever I've heard one.
He was coming from last in races he had no right to do. Then he went out to Qatar, had a pretty poor winter in Qatar. Then he came back to France. Now the song clue run, Nick Luck alluded to it earlier. Dear me, the second, third and fourth behind him were first, second and third all the way through the race. He's out the back. He gives the outside to no one round the bend. And he just goes past them like they're standing still. That says to me that he is continued. He is that group horse. He has improved. I honestly, if they'd turned up in the Jubilee Stakes, I wouldn't have been completely averse to him. He is off 102. He is going to be a 115 plus horse over this course and distance. So you've got to have him up top. There's a few others I'll have in swingers and exotics and all sorts, but top of them all is going to be Dark Trooper.
Still some weight in the price then for you?
5. I was said last I'd be backing him at everything down to 5 to 1.
Well, you're getting a bit bigger than that with Hills then. All right, that is the Wokingham. Good luck with the cavalry charge. Maybe if you're thinking of having a 3 and 4, you could couple up the panellists' picks. Let's move on, shall we? It's the Golden Gates handicaps, 3-year-olds over the miles who really like this race, really like this horse. I was asked by a couple of people to have a horse to follow at the start of the season. It was Hand of God, Johnny the Judge. I was delighted that he won on his return when hammered off the boards at Sandown, but he was pretty workman-like there. I guess punters are looking at the trip angle here. Is he as good as King's Gambit? Your 4s?
Yeah, well, I put this in at 6 to 1 when I passed it up at the entry stage, and he was absolutely knocked over. It was the only horse we laid at all. But now this price looks plenty short to me in this quality race. We're top at 4 to 1. We're paying 4 places, so we'll be happy to stand a few quid with there. There's been a fair spread of money elsewhere. Approval and Portsmouth are the 2 each-way horses here.
All right, Johnny Dineen, let's come to you with this one. 4 to 1's bigger than a lot of people might have expected. Hand of God. We saw the gamble on King's Gambit earlier on in the Hampton Courts. This is the redemption ride, isn't it, for William Buick? Are you brave enough to go in?
No, I thought he was short enough myself. I don't see any juice even at 4 to 1. He was shorter. I see 11 to 4 there this morning, but he's on the way out to whatever price he is, 4 to 1. I think he'll be that price all day long. I thought he won the way he won in Sandown. He didn't win like a horse that had a ton of contender. He won like half lengths and next. Most that horse was his French supremacy. Didn't really leave the form down. Yes, he was toward the Calandic. It'd be all right kind of form, but he didn't look a King's Gambit type of horse to me. And this looks a hard race to me. It looks an open race. I could see any one of 6 or 7 horses having a chance. Definitely, maybe even more. So you could anything but in around him in the betting. I couldn't see Old Faithful with I think they've nicked a few races on him really. But apart from him, I could see plenty of horses in around it under 12 to 1 having a chance. And look, I think Hand of God probably has his chance, but I don't think he's anything to write home about, to be honest. I was going to go with Palace Green myself. I definitely didn't get the trip in York, and that was not a bad race. And actually, the horse that won that race runs in Limerick during the day. So if you were interested in backing a horse like Palace Green, I would keep an eye on London City. He runs there at some stage during the day. He'll have run before this race is run. So you'd like to see a positive showing from him. But look, I will have something on Palace Green as long as London City that upholds the form in Limerick.
All right, okay, yeah, Palace Green then for Johnny. And again, looks like I thought he might be quite keen on Hand of God. It's also I really, really like. It was very impressive when he went to the Rolling Mile at Newmarket. Didn't please everyone when winning at Sandown, but he still got over the line. The form's not too bad.
It's one of those messy races, isn't it? At Sandown that you get. I mean, the first 3 raced in that order all the way round. I actually liked the horse to finish 4th, and he didn't run a particularly good race earlier in the week. But the runner-up in that Sandown race finished 2nd in the Italian Derby. Yep. Hand of God is gonna stay, and after King's Gambit won the London Gold Cup, the trainer said we were aiming hand of God at this until he came along. So he would have been their London Gold Cup horse until a proper, borderline Group 1 horse has come and shown his hand at home. So there's plenty of reasons thinking he's got a good chance. But I am going for Portsmouth now that my original selection, Arabic Legend, is a non-runner. I thought he was really well handicapped when he ran at Epsom. I don't think that race worked out that well for him, but I don't think the form was bad at all. Persica, the winner, was fourth in the London Gold Cup. And I just think Portsmouth has got an awful lot going for him. He was very keen.
He's on the inside, isn't he? So he should get cover. He should get cover, yeah.
Well, it's hard to win from there. That's why I didn't put him up yesterday. We have got a few non-runners now. It's a bit of a smaller field, so it might not be the issue it was with 4 or 5 more. So I'll take a chance with him. He's definitely a well-handicapped horse. He's going to pick up a nice prize at some point. Whether it's this one or not, we'll wait and see.
It's been a barren week for William Haggis so far. Approvals on a lot of people's lips. I think he's a horse that's been that typical William sort of work in progress.
Yeah. But I'm with Hand of God as well myself, to be honest. We talk about the wide draw. He has got he's the widest of all here, I think. And
do you think Newitt will be going out going, right, I'm going to show him? Because he came in for a bundle of sticks.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's how he's just. Hang on a minute, lads. I'm William Buick. He's not a bad jockey overnight. He's not having a great week, and he gave probably the most famously sort of horse that should have won ride of the week. But he's still a fantastic jockey. He'll come out here and ride his race. And Hand of God, I thought Ryan Moore was teaching him at Sandown, to be honest. I don't talk about it not being that impressive. He controlled the race and he was teaching the horse a lesson.
The money came, didn't it?
And if money was down properly, the trip's not going to be a problem. It's a stout pedigree. Dam's half brother won, was third in the Queen Alexandra and second in a Goodwood Cup. That's the sort of pedigree we're dealing with on the Dam side. So he's going to stay pretty well, hopefully. And just a lot to like about it. And I didn't know that about King's Gambit. He was sort of seen as the same as him, but you can well believe it. He has looked really good. So I would, when a horse has got as much in his favour as him, you struggle. You're having to work hard to get him beat, I think.
Yeah, when I was looking for the London Gold Cup is one of those races that we all look at, right?
Oh,
Aidan O'Brien gets things beaten early on in these Leopardstown Maidens on sort of Guineas weekend, and you're sort of thinking to yourself, right, what's going to be the London Gold Cup? Also, I thought Hand of God was in it. You don't like the Wokingham. You think that's impossible. What do you think of the Golden Gates?
I think Portsmouth is the least question marks. Like, he's proven the trip, connections, all that kind of stuff.
Keep it simple.
That's Old Faithful, sorry. If Portsmouth was guaranteed to settle, I'd be really strong on him, but he's been reported by 2 top-class jockeys that he's been too keen the last two times he's ran. So he'll need cover and he'll need look and running, won't he?
Yeah, OK, there you go. That's the Golden Gates. A couple of nods for Portsmouth, a couple of nods for a couple of others, and Hand of God 4-1. Do you like it? Don't you? Let us know. Get your comments out. We'd love to read them. Right. Here we go. It's the final race, the longest race of the week as well. It's the Queen Alexandra Stakes and some old favourites and indeed some old horses that came back in the race last year. Last year's winner, Dawn Rising, terribly unlucky run for Oscar, wasn't he? Looks like he's strong now, Johnny the Judge, for Charles Burns.
Yeah, the traditional getting out stakes, and we talked about market moves at the top of the show. There's a couple in here. Run for Oscar, 11-4 from 6. The money is really strong for this. And one really weak one, Dawn Rising, opened up joint favourites, is now out to 11-2. I suspect that'll be 13-2 or 7 by the end of the show. That is really, really weak. A little bit of money for Tashcan each way, 10 into 11-2. Maybe the ground might be a little small concern for that one.
We respect Brian Ellison when we see the money coming, Tashcan's trainer. Johnny Dineen, kills is all over Run for Oscar. We can bombshell that one. Is this going to bookend the meeting in style for our main man?
Yeah, I like Run for Oscar myself. He's getting into a price where whether you want to back him or not. It is a fair little race. You could give the likes of Queenstown that must have a chance. I wouldn't dismiss Dawn Rising either. I'm not mad about Oakman myself. Tashcan is I suppose the Run for Oscar is the horse I'd have gone for. Like, he was around 92 this morning. He's short and now he's into 11-4. He'd be lucky to be 3-1. Like, but looking at the betting, like he was dead unlucky in the race last year. On the counter side to that, he's 9 years of age and like he surely can't be getting any better. But he did run well in the group races in France and that. He's been trained by a great operator too, and like he'll be trained for the minute here. He's the one I'd go for now, to be honest. 11 to 4, 3 to 1. He wouldn't want to get much shorter though, at the same time, but I do think he's the horse they have to beat.
Yeah, okay, 11 to 4 now, Johnny. Johnny, I'm aware that we've kept you, man, and you're probably... Are you getting a plane back today, Johnny?
Yeah, I'm at 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, but you'll be sticking around at Ascot, because I know you don't mind going to an airport and having a punt in the waiting areas, do you?
No, I the last day I was Epsom. I was there for 2 o'clock, betting away all day till 6 in the heat show, and I'll be doing something similar today. I won't know. I'll be gone out the minute this is over. I'm gone here.
Oh, you'll be absolutely relieved to get rid of Dave Lowe, won't you? I imagine, et al. It's been a hell of a week, John. What a pleasure. Join us back on the Morning Post soon, won't you?
All the best. I will, of course. Yeah, all the best. Nice to see you, lads. All the best.
Lovely. Johnny Dineen,
Cheers,
what a star. All right, let's get Steve stuck into the last race of the week. You were talking about the pedigrees for this race. I may as well let you do it. 11 to 4 run for Oscar, 9-year-old.
Yeah, it's short enough, isn't it? I mean, I can see the case for him, and he is 9. You say he can't be getting better at 9, but he got better at 8, didn't he? So, yeah, I can see. And when there's tight money for our Charles Bonner's horse, you always sort of look at that. Maybe less so than it was, because he has come in. Johnny mentioned him as a bit of a punt, but yesterday you were getting about double this price about Tashcan, and I thought, well, he's best horse in the race, and all these jumps hacks that he's up against. We've got a proper flat horse here. He's running the third best race of his life on good firm ground. He has got loads of form in soft ground. That's because he's got loads of good form in France half the time. But yeah, and Brian Ellison doesn't have to. It's his first run of the season. He doesn't have to run over 2 mile 5.5. You could have easily run him in a. You could run him in the Gold Cup if you wanted to. You could run him in a.
Yeah, you could run in the Gold Cup.
You could run in the Ascot Stakes potentially. He didn't have to run him under this sort of test if he was just minding him to get him ready. So I'm fairly confident he'll have him ready. The money this morning suggests he's got him ready, and he's the best horse in the race. I mean, the market's latched onto it a little bit now, but I've gone with Tashcan.
Bookmakers genuinely hate it when they see Brian Ellison horses being backed. Keels, right, let's come to you. 11 to 4 now. What price did you get? What price did you put him up at? And is this the nap of the day?
I got 11 to 2 or 5s. Yeah, it's the nap of the day. He basically got the worst ride of any horse at Royal Ascot last year. I mean, you imagine a 9-runner Queen Alexandra.
Who was on him last year?
Where half the field are beaten long before they turn in, and you still can't get a run. And he should have won half the track. He's getting £3 off Dawn Rising. This time, I mean, when he won the Says the season before, I mean, he was in front more than a furlong out. I mean, it's not a horse that needs dropping on the line. He's straightforward enough. He's a strong traveller. He finds plenty, and he's obviously been, 12 months waiting to right that wrong. Booked the French jockey Maxime Guillon. I'm sure he will have it made plain to him that he doesn't need to be completely buried.
Fascinating booking.
Through the race.
French champion jockey.
Yeah, I expect him to win.
Yeah,
I really do expect him to win.
Yeah, okay, he's a 9-year-old, but we're not too worried about that. He's got Dawn Rising, of course. This is their big day, isn't it? Queenstown in there, okay, for Aidan O'Brien. It's interesting to see that that's now 7 to 2. 11 to 4 now, run for Oscar. Kills has spoken. This is the big one to get him over the line. Aidan.
I just think this is a far better race than this time last year. Dawn Rising beat Grand Plaisir. This race there's a bit more depth to it this year. For some reason, I've gone with Postilio.
Well, tell us why, because we spoke about this before.
I just thought Emma Mullins is a bit of a genius. He's booked James Doyle. They won the Cesarewitch last year, wasn't it? With
the Shunter?
Yeah, the Shunter. I just thought it's just very interesting. And his prep runs for this weren't too bad behind Kriprios, which is solid enough form. I just think this race is a bit of an anomaly, really, isn't it? But it is a lot better race than last year, so I would rule out Run for Oscar and Dawn Rising on that.
You're going to be absolutely gassed, aren't you, by the time this comes along?
Yeah, exactly. I don't think I'll care by the time this comes along.
All right, okay, that is your Saturday previews done then. Fingers crossed then for Run for Oscar and Kills. You'll be coming off the golf course, lighting one up, Kills, won't you, and just watching this one?
No, I'll be still on the golf course then. I'm playing quite late.
You're disgusted with this week.
I'm playing quite well. Yeah. I mean, I'm just not going to pay any attention.
You know it's going to turn then, Sod's Law.
I'm going to check my account to see if there's anything in them about 9 o'clock tonight.
I think we'll all be with you there, Kills. All right, great stuff. That's Royal Ascot done. The final race is there for you. Let's have a look at an Ante-post race that we're expecting to take off after this week. It is the Eclipse, Johnny, at Sandown, coming up in a couple of weeks. And it's all been all about City of Troy. I guess Passenger didn't make it this week. August Rodan showed himself again. You've got Luxembourg, White Birch. Ground was too quick for him. Any rain there, that 10-1 might come in. You're 6-4 on about the Troy.
Yeah, so we were, after the Derby, we went 4-1, and we thought this was most likely to be his next run. That was slightly under the industry. So we've not exactly been knocked over, and he's now, he's been backed into 4-6, having Aidan stated their intentions to run here. But I think I'm a little bit more interested in this Passenger. I mean, how good could he be? I was at Chester when he won, and he ran past Israel like he was stood still. Obviously, that came out and bolted up earlier this week. He's 4-1. He could fly the flag for the older horses this year.
Interesting. Yeah, I heard you were singing the praises of Passenger.
Well, I mean, it's just a mouth-watering prospect, isn't it? I mean, if Israel was as good at Chester as he was at Ascot, then Passenger is a monster, isn't he?
Yeah.
Because Israel's absolutely destroyed them, and you've got to remember that, they've shattered the track record at Chester as well. Like, you know what I mean? So it's a really good piece of form. Now, he's had his niggles, Passenger, since, because it's why he didn't turn up.
Shame for
this
Sir
week.
Michael he didn't turn up.
So, let's hope he's back fine. It's only a minor issue. But yeah, I mean, you've got to, these late mature and stout horses, as we say time and time again, he showed a massive piece of, talent there. And it'd just be interesting up against three. He's obviously going to have to give the weight for age to City of Troy, but it will make that a real sort of mouth-watering prospect if he gets there.
It's the race that can cut up a bit, isn't it?
It is. I'm sort of in a bit of a funny position in this one. I thought it was going to cut up because I backed Dancing Gemini before City of Troy got announced as coming this way, and when I thought Passenger was going to run in the Prince of Wales. Wow. So I felt an each-way thief and bet on Dancing Gemini at fancy prices was really smart. And I'm still on it, multiples of the price he is now, but, I'm sitting there thinking, God, get third, because it's a really good race now. I hope Passenger turns up, and if the ground stays fast, I think he might beat City of Troy. I think you're worth taking on the Derby form at first, because there was one good horse in that Derby. There might have been two, maybe Ambient Friend. He beat the rest handily, maybe he's good as well. But it's...
we'll find out Irish Derby weekend, of course.
Well, of course, yeah. And Dancing Gemini, I think he looked like, in his French race and in Epsom, he looked like a mile 2 horse with one in him.
That's a shout.
So I would. Is he about 16 now? That's probably his price. But he's... you might get in place there, but if City and Troy and Passenger turn up, they're probably the two best middle distance horses going at the moment. Yeah. So I would only be holding out hope for third, and I hope Passenger. I've been a big fan of Passenger since pretty much day one. It was a Wood Ditton he won, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Been a big fan of him from the start. That Chester run was monstrous. I was on him for the Prince of Wales at about 9, and I was absolutely raging that he didn't turn up.
Yep.
So I'll be trying to get it back.
All right, OK, Passenger and Dancing Gemini. What a shout there. Loads of viewers will be looking at the screen now going, why are people not just telling us the City of Troy's going to go and win again? Are you more positive about the Derby win?
I wouldn't. I'd agree with what Keith said, but if you're looking at middle distance form this year, I think White Birch is probably the best nearly, isn't it? He's been very impressive in his 3 runs.
It needs to rain though, wouldn't it?
With rain, obviously. Beat Augustus Rodan really well. And that's the only time Augustus Rodan has probably been beat when he hasn't had a stinker. He's usually last, or else he's won. And he was second, and I think that was a good run from him. I just think White Birch this year has been a revelation.
Yeah, OK. He's got a massive fan club, hasn't he?
Yeah. What a race that's going to be. If they're intended to turn up.
Well, that's the problem with the Eclipse. You can sometimes see some really small fields.
We could end up with 4, couldn't we?
Yeah, we could end up with 4.
Well, that was the bit. That's why I had the original.
Two of them are City and Troy and Passenger. I'd still be dead keen to go and watch it.
Yeah, it's quiet market so far, but we're expecting it to rev up, and that's our Ante-post angle that we give you here on the Morning Post. Right, we're nearly coming to the business end of the show. I believe it's nap time coming up now, is it? We're going to have an advert first. Check this out. Giggling here because that music. Who else is doing this? I've never seen Keels do that. Taylor Swift tonight for you, Keels.
I was copying you.
Yeah, we're all giving it a bit of that in here. Right there, the naps. I'm going to get mine out of the way. It is continuous. This is boosted. I just think it's going to be better than this lot, Johnny. I'm not too worried about the first time out. I'm a Middle Earth fan, but I don't think he's that good. And it's continuous for me. These are all boosted, are they?
Yeah, these are the boosted prices on screen. These will be available till 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock, they're live now. 6 to 1 about Dark Trooper.
Oh, yeah.
Happy days. Aidan?
River Tiber.
Nice, River Tiber. Keels, run for Oscar 7 to 2.
Yeah, make up for last year.
Make up for last year, absolutely. Make up for the week. Johnny Dineen is River Tiber as well. And Johnny the Judge, you're going for it in the Golden Jubilee. You think it'll be Millstream?
Yeah, I thought Millstream was valued for a little bit more at York, and obviously well documented this is not a great race, so I thought 7-2 was a little bit short, so we've gone 5 to 1 Millstream.
Love it. All right, there are your naps. They are live now on the William Hill site. Johnny, really long week. 6:15 is nearly over. Go well today.
Yeah, good luck today, fellas.
Yeah, we'll be back, of course, next week, and so will Johnny or Jamie McBride. Maybe Keith, great to have you on.
Cheers, Dave.
Good to see you.
Yeah, I've had a fantastic week. What a good week it's been, and hopefully just Dark Trooper.
You're dressed as if you might be going out in town. You got a bit. I don't know. You got a little lunch date lined up or something, have you?
No, it's just because I'm wearing a jacket, Dave.
Yeah, and you got the man for milk tray vibe about you.
I knew I was going to get a milk tray comment. I've never worn this and not got a milk tray comment.
Yeah, at least it's not purple. You know, Robbie Wilders would be having you out on that, wouldn't he?
Well, I look like a man who's eating all the milk.
You look like a man who is ready for the golf course.
I am ready for the golf.
Yeah, all right. Keels, honestly, it's been a monster week for Keels. You've been doing shows all over. You've been in columns everywhere. We shouldn't take that too lightly. It's not been the week you wanted, but it could well turn out.
It's been a horrific week. Can't hide from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully it changes today. But it's been horrible.
Yeah, you're too good around to keep down, as is Aidan Coleman, who's going back to his hometown today.
Going back to Ireland tonight now,
Yeah, all right. Aidan, you'll be back shortly, no doubt.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah, got a lot of love from us here on this show. We love you guys out there. This has been the Morning Post. Don't forget, like, subscribe, all that. Look back on your Members Club for all those replays of the horses we've put up. There are your naps. They're live now. We'll see you next Saturday.